Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here, and once again, it is our great pleasure to be in your reality. This is a moon afternoon, day somber number 18. Very powerful next few days, friends. December 18, 2022, just in case our recordings last a century or some such. Want to make sure that the dates are down there, and as people look back from the future and say, wow, those people in 2022, they were way ahead of the game. Nonetheless, there our vehicle says no boasting, no bragging, no projecting on such, but we are excited. This is, of course, the last channeling for 2022 at the moon. Schedule's up for next year, but we'll wait till next year. But right now, it's the holiday season. And why is it so exciting right now? Because the sun, every year, is conjunct the galactic center at this time. From about December 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, it's really right there, 27 degrees Sagittarius. Every year, the sun is in alignment with the galactic center. Make sure you say hello to the sun. You will be looking directly in the direction of Sagittarius, the galactic center. And today, of course, is Hanukkah, beginning of Hanukkah, and of course it's the holiday season for different peoples and groups, and you have in a few days the summer solstice. Oh, sorry, that was a big faux there. In a few days you have the winter solstice, and of course it would be the summer solstice if you were beneath the equator, because it's summer, going into summer down there. But up here in the northern regions, you have winter, the beginning of winter. And winter is, of course, it's going to bring festivities and celebrations, and winter solstice is then followed by the Christmas holidays, and of course lots of family gatherings, lots of opportunity to share ideas and figure things out. And we dare say that more than the past few years, your family members may be more inclined to hear some bigger truths. And of course, the bigger truths are, there's lots of truth twisters, and there's a lot of truth tellers and truth false tellers, and as the pigeons would say, what is the truth? And there's a new batch that wants to be introduced there. We'll get to them later. And there's a batch that we introduced a little while ago, and they're still looking for a place to be employed, and that is Plenty, Plumpy, Pumpy, and Pie. Yes. They're floating still, and they're wondering where they're going to go. The new batch, they know where they're going, and it's top secret, as they said. All beaks are sealed. There's no giving it away, but we'll get to them later. They are rascals. Oh, this new batch are rascals, and they're going to stir things up on the planet. And then, of course, just a little report there on the Bombardiers, headed by Peaches, which just happened to be our vehicle's secret psychic name when they played psychic games way back in the 90s. So Peaches heads up the Bombardiers, as you know, those who fly high and fly low, and warn everyone to watch out below. So Peaches and her Bombardiers, they're pooped. They're just exhausted. They have been jumping in and out of the Philly portal, of course. They're just managed by the stuffed pigeon Philly, who lives with our vehicle, but it's still the portal's in Philadelphia. The founding fathers used it. This is a time-traveling portal. And where have they been traveling? Well, where else would they be going? Their mission is to spy on world leaders, of course. from the halls of secret Washington to the shores of Italy. They have been to Egypt. Yes, they've been to the COP27 conference in Sharm el-Sheikh. It's on the Red Sea. Our vehicle has been there. Well, we've been everywhere our vehicle's been, so we could say we've been there too. It was a GOP conference. They call it GOP. No one knows what that means. GOP 27. It's like code, like COVID-19 is also code for some such identity undercover, artificial intelligence, something like this. But COP, they say it's a gathering of parties. And that's the name that they are under. Oh, no, sorry, a conference, COP, a conference of parties. We would say it's for control of people. Yes, COP. Watch out for these secret meetings. But Peaches and the Bombardiers have been there. They've also been to Bali, where there was a G20 meeting, and that's why they're pooped. They've traveled all over the world, and they have delivered many gifts from heaven, and they have much, much more to report. And, well, Peaches says it's Christmas, and the team wants to rest up. But that's just a peek at the PPP, the Pleiadian Pigeon Patrol. And we'll see if they have any new lyrics or songs, and more reports on specific assignments. But we'll get to all of that in a bit. But we wanted to cheer you up in the beginning to let you know that your pigeon pals, along with the Pleiadian Pet Network, is all up and running. And there's a lot of support, a lot of help behind the scenes. The news that you hear on the so-called mainstream media, the alphabet-controlled stations, just like the alphabet-controlled secret organizations, well, yes, they have that in common, the alphabet there. Well, you all have the alphabet in common, but nonetheless, they are non-stop desperate, delivering so much mis and disinformation that it can make people's heads spin. And our vehicle was explaining to you prior to our arrival a little bit about dissociative people, and when people are traumatized, they sort of check out or can develop alternative persons or personas or alters to deal with certain situations. And some of their alters can be angry, very angry, that if a situation comes up and they are presented with information that they do not know how to process, that goes against their belief systems, then they can meet it with anger. That anger then pushes others away, and it is a coping mechanism. It is a way that they don't have to deal with something that they are not ready to deal with. Think about a bear in hibernation in a cave. And if that bear gets disrupted, it's not going to be, hey, no problem here, I'm sleeping through the winter. It's going to come out and growl and fight and chase off whatever's there, and then go back to its sleepy stance. These are tricky times, friends. That may be the title of this afternoon's discussion. Tricky times. Because there's so much counter-information. As we said, the pigeons are asking all of you and themselves what is true and what is real. One thing our vehicle noticed driving up here today, no one had masks. A few of you were commenting on that some people still have masks, but the majority are not wearing masks. But one thing they all have in common, they all have the bowling ball head. Do you know what that is? It's the head that sits on the chin. We are doing great antics here. Too bad those of you out there in Mystery Land cannot see us. We are putting our head forward and we have our hands in front of us. We are staring at our hands as if there is a deadly device in our hands. Deadly devices, of course, are your cell phones. You know, we've been joking about these deadly devices for a long time. We've banned them from our sessions for good reason. And they came out in 2007. And since then, the bowling ball has grown heavier and heavier. The spine has become more curved. People can't walk. They have all kinds of back pains. They can't breathe. If your chin is not level and up in the air, but if your chin is pressed forward, you are closing off your ability to breathe. Yet people have become so super addicted to thinking that these devices are showing them something. Our vehicles saw all kinds of people, young and old. A few of them were having a good time walking with dogs and such, and the weather is brisk and bright, and Christmas decorations are everywhere. But she passed a whole bunch of young people, a gang of them, going to some conference or some activity, obviously. All of them bowling ball head down. Over time, you know, there's something called, what is it called, when your occupation or the way you stand creates disproportional anomalies in the body. So that if you stand with your shoulders tipped, or you sit hunched over, or you do repetitive actions, your body's going to take that on as its structure. So in addition to the COVID debacle, the deception, the corruption, the con, people are being enticed from every direction to diminish their ability to be present in the body and to diminish their ability to use the divine spark of creation. Think about it. As our vehicle said to you all before we came in, remember, we are here to witness. And many of you are married, and children, and grandchildren, and family, and cousins, and parents are still alive, and you have family. And you grow through family. One of the big movements today is to destroy the family in every capacity. This is not smart. You can do what you want, of course. This is what being alive is, and being an extension of a creative energy imbues you with this energy, and you learn lifetime after lifetime by your choices. As our vehicle, we've said, you often pick up your profession or your wounds or your situation lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, until in one of your lifetimes you say, I'm not doing this anymore. This is boring, or I don't have to be entrapped in this, or I don't have to do this. And you start to think and become more aware. Today, the tricky times, there's so much to be aware of. And there's also the supreme necessity to be self-aware. Our recent release of Clearly Evident Part 3, we meandered into the subject of the art of self-awareness. You can be aware of conspiracies. Many of you are perhaps following the whole menu of issues that are pecking away at civilization. The real self-awareness is listening to what you think, catching yourself thinking, managing your thinking, managing your total beingness, how you sleep, how you eat, how you love, how you respond, how you move through existence, whether you are awake or asleep. This is self-awareness. Catching yourself working against yourself. Catching yourself ruminating. This is where people get stuck sometimes. Ruminating means you keep thinking of the same thing, or you keep processing the same thing, and it goes round and round and round and round and round. And sometimes the way that people today escape from self-awareness is they pursue entertainment, or news, or sports, or music. Anything but to think about what you are thinking. And yet, it's never been richer and riper to access what's inside of you in the creative capacity to truly, 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 dear friends, create what you want. When things go crazy, reality goes whizzy-bangy and bonkers, and you hear about this in the media. It's a non-stop barrage of problems, and there are problems. People are losing it. One of the ways that people respond to being overwhelmed and being subjected to endless programming is they go insane. They lose the home station, where they are, where they're grounded, where their family is, what makes sense, what common sense is. They can go insane, or they can escape to drugs, or alcohol, or any of the other things that are out there. Today, it's been shown that one of the biggest addictions on the internet is pornography. The second biggest addiction, we believe, is sports betting. How exciting. And the third is gambling. Sports betting, gambling. Pornography. This is how people deal when they want to escape things that they cannot process. And on top of all that, you have a lot of examples that would entice you into pornographic voyeurism. In the last, say, 50 years, 40, 30 years, your movies, your TV shows, your entertainment, music, it's all changed. Everything is sexualized now. If it's not super sexualized, then it's not considered to be worthy of everything. So this is a lot to deal with. And of course, when people don't know what to do, they just start playing with their toys. You hear about inequality today, and people who don't have this and don't have that. But you are living in the richest country in the world, in the United States of America. When our vehicle went to China in 2015, she came home and she said, wow, even LA and Manhattan, they're like little country towns compared to China. The other thing she said was this: we have no poor people in the United States. Think about that. There's money, there's social programs, there's roofs, there's heat, there's food, there's all kinds of things. There's flush toilets and running water. Sometimes a civilization can be so rich and ripe in and of itself. It doesn't know how to step outside itself, even if it does travel. And a decadence can arise, a corruption can arise when there's so much freedom and so much of this and so much of that. And corruption's always been around. Please understand that. But in today's world, it's sort of taken things over. And whatever country you are in, whether you're the Western Hemisphere, which would be Canada, North America, South America, or Europe, a part of Africa, or you go into the Eastern Hemispheres, everywhere, the same issues are coming to the forefront. What's real? What's the truth? Why is it that our leaders are so corrupt? Why is it that ideas are being pushed that have nothing to do with our well-being? So this is all part of the tremendous confusion. Some call them crazy times. We would say we've been saying all year, the word of the year is insane or insanity. But the Epoch Times just came out with an article that said the word of the year is gaslighting. Gaslighting, what does that mean? It goes back to fibs that were told about lighting the gas in the house and whether it was heating the house, and someone would say, "Oh no, it's on," when they were lying about it to save for fuel or some such like this, and keeping the temperature down. Gaslighting. So it's come to mean a series of preposterous lies. Bull manure, another way of saying it. But language wants to become more sophisticated, and so that people can't figure out simple words what they are referring to. Gaslighting means massive lies. Massive lies. What those of you who can see, you find yourself in an uncomfortable situation, especially over the holidays, is that you are going to spend time with people who will proselytize the lies. And they have so lost their home station and the ability to think rationally, or to use the superpower, as some are calling it, of common sense. Yes, that's what common sense is referred to today, the new superpower. Laugh at that. It's a funny one. It's pathetic. It's really pathetic what's happened. People have lost it. But this is what happens at certain situations. Some may call them the fall of a civilization. And certainly you are in a type of fall. And we would say how fast the fall will be. How fast. In terms of time, the next 2 years are exceptionally pivotal. By 2025, there's going to be, by May, June, July, in that framework, about 2.5 years from now, some big planetary changes. And just keep track of it. You'll have a whole bunch of planets moving to 0 degrees. Saturn would move to 0 degrees Aries. We believe Neptune moves to 0 degrees Aries. Uranus moves to 0 degrees Gemini. Jupiter moves to 0 degrees something there a few years down the road. And so that's going to be big changes. Huge, massive. But these next 2 years, 2023 and 2024, there's lots of forecasts, and some of them are intuitive, and some of the forecasts are based on what you'd call counting the chickens that are left in the hen house reality. And it looks as if, from those who know what they're talking about, truthful medical people, loyal to their oath to create no harm, one of them, Dr. Elizabeth Eads, predicting a tsunami of deaths in the next few years. Every day, every other day, certainly every week, by the end of the week, you hear about 3 or 4 noted people who have died suddenly. There's a documentary out there called Died Suddenly. Stu Peterson or some such makes this. It's cumulative, starting to see how many people, long after they've been vaccinated, have a cardiac issue. Just gone, just like that. World Cup, a whole bunch of reporters. Football, people are falling over. Young people falling over. Performers, it's all being hidden. It's still in the local radio. There's all manner of advertisements saying that if you're 5 and over, make sure you get vaccinated before you mix and mingle with everyone for the holidays. Dr. Elizabeth Eads is saying at least 1 million people have died from the COVID vaccination. At least 1 million. That could accelerate tremendously. These are things to be aware of. At some point, the tables will turn on everything. And we do want to say to you that there are certain inevitables, eventualities that have to unfold. And that would be the exposure of all this corruption. We do want to affirm to you that goodness will prevail. Goodness will prevail. And this is good to remember during the season of goodwill. That goodness will prevail. But there will be many, many people, because of their decisions, their fear of the body, inability to reason. They lost their superpower. Many of them will be making an exit. So the toll of excessive deaths around the planet is off the charts. The insurance companies began to see it. The statisticians began to do comparables. The medical professions, many doctors have lost their licenses. Many people in the medical profession have died. Hospitals, emergency centers, nursing homes, they don't have enough people. They're short of staff. They don't have enough people to deliver babies. People have died, or they have simply walked away and said, I'm not going to be a part of this. And why isn't it big news? Why? Because in a time of collapse and confusion, the collapse is predicated and occurs because for decades, lies, deceit, fraud, corruption, and worse, much worse, very dark practices, deep dark practices have been building. A collapse does not come out of nowhere. It's decades in the making. Perhaps it's millennia in the making on a soul level. Perhaps it has to do with the larger cycle of ages. That as you enter an age or end an age and move to another, there's tests. There's tests of the times, tests of how you will navigate. Because you see, no matter where you are, no matter what stance you take in life, it's up to you. And you are, as a part of existence, it is your duty to learn. You can refuse to learn. You all know people who, or you've heard of people who they're slackers. They don't want to do anything. They're not productive. They're seemingly lost in food or sex or TV or electronics or whatever the nonsense is. But that's their life. That's what they're learning. That's what they're learning. And so the tests grow great and even greater as the energy commands, compels, forces all of you to become much more aware. In order to figure out where you are going, the old expression is you have to know where you've come from. And history, in a very trite way of saying it, repeats itself. But so do your many lifetimes repeat themselves. And you build, if you are aware, on what you learn from lifetime to lifetime. Eventually, you come to a position where survival's not an issue. You know how to survive. On money, on food, on shelter. You know how to function. You understand people. And you are creative. And perhaps you learn to be generous and to help others, or to uplift others by what you are learning. And what do you get out of all this satisfaction? When you reach a place of real satisfaction, your body releases hormones, the feel-good hormones, the serotonin, the oxytocin, and you feel, you can tell, you feel good. Now, some people will rationalize their destructive behavior and say, I feel really good when I harm someone, or when I rob or steal, or sexually abuse children, or I rape people, or I steal cars, or when I'm a drug head and I'm gone for days. They may be speaking the truth, but such people who are that far out of being in touch with the brilliance of who they are, they're generally carrying entities. And today people are fully loaded. It's very, 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 very common for people to pick up entities, non-physical beings, who are roaming around the invisible realms in gangs, looking to occupy a human body and to take it for a ride. You've heard us talk about this before, but we are going over it just so that you have clarity on what you are going to be seeing in the next few years. So, COVID has been a disaster, and it's interesting, they keep questioning the Dr. Fauci there, fake energy, Fauci, and he's lying and lying and lying and lying, and well, they've got it all on record. And there are many people who are saying that all people who have been involved in pushing the vaccinations, in lying about the vaccinations, they're all going to have to be held accountable. On a soul level, there's no escaping anything on a soul level. On a lawful level, in the court of law, your courts are full of corruption, and they are polarized. And so this is a certain appointee, or this is another appointee, and people on earth have lost the ability in general to be neutral and stand in the middle and to assess the situation. This is what tricky times are all about. You want to jump onto one side or another. learn to make clear assessments. So COVID is going to rear its ramifications in a very, very, very dark way in the next few years. And that's what's going to happen. And as more and more people keel over and more things are erased or it's taken off, well, this is part of the initiation of the wake-up. Now, Elon, as you know, we call him El-On because, well, the L's are the old visitors and from the cosmos, and On, of course, is Anu, the Grand Emperor of the Anunnaki Kingdom, of which you are considered to be a part. And, of course, you do not consider yourself, as Earthlings in general, to be a part of anything. You have been led to believe that you are a few planets away from the sun and you are in an isolated solar system, and it's only Elon who can go up there to the stars, or, well, he's got some Pidgeys with him, but there are secret reports coming in there. But Elon or the NASA, which was basically, well, Werner von Braun, a brilliant Nazi rocket scientist, was paperclipped into this country. That means he was part of Operation Paperclip that brought many, many thousands of technicians, doctors, scientists of the Nazi ilk. They sort of escaped the Nuremberg trials, and they were brought into the U.S., as you heard before, to carry on in total betrayal of what was happening. But also, at the time of World War II, you had Tesla, who'd been around fooling around with interdimensional things and ETs and free energy and all of this. And you had suddenly appearances of craft in the sky. And so think about the 20s, 30s, 40s as being a time of opening sort of dimensions through reciprocity that would be exchanged between humans and extraterrestrials. Lots of secrecy, lots of innovation, and now you are paying the price. About 100 years later, it's come to fruition, so to speak. So, there are, or there have been, incursions from an extraterrestrial nature onto your planet to subjugate you. That would mean to recolonize you or to have you be sort of a enslavement to these Anunnaki overlords. And there's been all kinds of speculation about appearances, but back to Werner von Braun, he was brilliant. He set up NASA, and he was pivotal in many of the space-based projects. It doesn't come out so much that he had ET contact like Tesla, but of course he did. All the people that start playing with that kind of super high tech, it comes to them when they're having a cup of coffee, when they're walking the dog, when they're taking a shower, when they're dreaming, or when sometimes they're doing juju magic. Lots of these people are not at all who they appear to be. They're cultists, they're ritualists, especially if they've come from the high Nazi ranks. They would know how to call in forces, open portals, go into other dimensions. Do they know what they're doing? No. Of course they don't know what they're doing, but are they doing? Yes. You can see today, by the state of the world, by the world leaders, especially epitomized in Nacho, Buck me, or Biden. Yes. We say buck me because he says the buck stops with me. Let's just say he's being bucked, that's for sure. Nacho's going to be stuck holding the bag. That's going to be very, 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 very interesting come January number 1. Investigations are going to go full force on all sides. There's a push to take Trump down. There's a push to take Biden down. But back to space there, and Werner and all of this. And so this is sort of building energy here, these extraterrestrial phenomena. And it's been reported that it was Werner von Braun who suggested that when there would be a need to create great control on the planet, a fake extraterrestrial invasion would be staged. This is straight from the mouth of someone who knew all about all of the ET contact. How do we see it? It's a ways down the road. The Christians, of course, are certain, and so are many other Americans, that you are in, quote, end times. Whatever that means, from revelations and scriptures and biblical prophecies and all of this. But no matter which way you look, and I'll say that again, no matter which way you look, no matter which country you are in and what belief system, everyone is starting to feel that there's a force among you that's not right. They are, most of the month of November, they were in high revolt in China. It is not an easy place to protest. China is under complete and total super duper surveillance. You are nowhere near under that kind of surveillance, but every time you are carrying one of those deadly devices, you are being surveilled. You are feeding information to the Chinese, to the artificial intelligences, to the ETs. We cannot emphasize it enough, friends. Get rid of those things, or carry a bag that they are sealed within and use it only in emergency. That's up to you to destroy yourself or not. We don't want to say we told you so, but there it is. No one chuckles when we say that. It's just because you're all in it. But that's your reality. So China, they are revolting, and they are calling for the end of Xi Jinping, who just got reinstated as emperor for life. They are calling for the end of the CCP, not the PPP. And so, CCP. And so Iran actually is the way you pronounce it, Iran, is under deep revolt. And there was all problems at the World Cup about being loyal to the regime. Turkey, they are under questioning Erdogan, clamping down on more control when people want freedom. Back to Iran, they are in revolt. The women were in the streets for months, breaking the laws. When you go in the streets here, it's not the same. These people, if they are taken, if they are recorded being taken, if they are in the streets, and they have a record of them being in the streets, they can easily be disappeared. The women were angry because a woman who did not have her hijab, her headscarf on properly, was arrested and beaten and killed in prison in Iran, perhaps October, early November. And finally, people are outraged. So whatever rights you are standing up for, whatever you are facing, the right to uncover your head if you are a woman, the right to not be wired or welded into your apartment in China 80 stories off the ground. Endless buildings of 40 to 80 stories off the ground. If you leave, you have to show a phone. Everything is tracked in China. These people have the potential, millions and millions and millions of them, to be rounded up. Brazil, south of the equator, they were out in the millions, an endless sea of people protesting against corrupt elections. You just finished election season here about 6 weeks ago. Endless corruption, out and out fraud everywhere. The red wave that was anticipated was forestalled, cheated on. It's interesting to see what's happening on a political level in the U.S. There's certain candidates that are being pumped up, while the big threat has always been Donald Trump. Now, granted, Trump has major, underlined about 10 times, personality quirks and flaws. He has Uranus conjunct his sun. It's going to make him unstable, unpredictable, weird, bizarre, quirky, crazy. That's Donald Trump. No doubt about it. But the globalists, the controllers, so to speak, as we call them, the global goblins, they hate him so much because the team it's very large, it's worldwide, that Trump is a part of. He's sort of the one that takes the punches. They're breaking up the cabals. They're breaking up the drug trafficking, breaking up the biggest trafficking of all was children. It's been reported that the alphabet agencies in the U.S. and around the world all get their money from drug and child trafficking. And of course people don't want to hear this. Why they take over your children while you are in the living room and the children are in the bedroom taking naked pictures of themselves or deciding that they are not who they are, and they are searching TikTok and everything online and finding others who are sure they are not who they are, and let's just go for it and become part of massive medical experimentation. It's interesting, our vehicle reads the newspaper Epoch Times. She brings them for you for giveaways. Every issue now confronts this. And there's many articles about those who are called detransitioners. Young women, mostly, some men, but young women who have decided at 12, 13, 14 to have their breasts removed. No shortage of surgeons to do this work. As people point out, can't drive, can't drink, can't get a tattoo, can't rent a car, can't really go anywhere, but you can have your body chopped up and turned into an idealization of what you think you are. Karmic, absolutely. Corrupt beyond. So these are some of the things that are occurring. Another unfolding is a while back, Elon, as we said, affiliated with space and all that, and sending rockets up there and sort of penetrating the frontiers. He also took on the frontier of big tech, even though he is part of all this. And again, he captured Twitter a while back. They had Puffer there, and he bought Twitter. And now the Twitter files, as they are called, are being methodically released, revealing outrageous cover-up of, well, let's say, anyone who they considered to be a Democrat was lauded and supported, and anyone that was a Republican was banned, canceled, and all manner of chicanery. Of course, Elon is out there, quote, saving the day and revealing all this, but no one in the mainstream media has reported on it. So some of the biggest stories about corruption, COVID, mutilating children, Twitter showing how everything is all controlled, even to the point that Big Mike, Michelle, as she is called, she demanded that Twitter control and ban Trump, who controlling the opposite end there. So, yes, no one is going to come out looking very good in all this, all right? And we've been speaking to you for all year about the hidden wars, the geoengineering, the weather attacks. But there's also attacks that are taking place on the bioweaponry. Many have attributed these problems that came from Wuhan, China, and of course it looks as if COVID and the way the Chinese treated COVID will be China's undoing. We do not see China lasting too much longer. In these next few years, by 2025, there will be some big things that have transpired. Either the fraud, the corruption, the betrayals will all be cleaned up or addressed, not cleaned up. It's going to take years and years and years to really clean it up. But the cards will be on the table, and you will know, without a doubt, what the issues are, where the betrayals were. If it goes the other direction, and people remain dissociative, and those who are awake become disheartened, or they believe that a small number cannot change the course of events, however it goes, there's a possibility that you are stuck in a deep, deep, deep tyranny. But we are of the mindset and the probable world where goodness prevails. And as we've said to you over and over again, there are many futures. There are many branches of reality that reach out. And it's up to you to decide which reality you want to be in. Right now, just on the COVID expose and the Twitter exposés, there's a whole chunk of the world that is not in on it, that doesn't understand it, that doesn't want to know. And there's another chunk of the world, not a separate world, that sees all of this. Splitting of worlds. The worlds will split more and more. Now, but the darkest of the dark of the deep stuff comes out, and it looks as if Nacho Joe there, it looks as if he's going to be the fall guy. And they are going to want to stick it to him. Someone has to be the fall guy. But there's bigger fish. And Obama's much bigger fish than Notch. But even behind Obama, there's bigger fish. Now, the other scandal that you are dealing with is this crypto nonsense. To be able to just arbitrarily create a monetary system out of nothing and have it backed by nothing. And of course, you've been doing this for 100 years with the printing of money, and 50 years since removal from the gold standard. But cryptos are a way to enslave people. If all of your monies were to be on a digital platform, oh yes, push a button here, buy this here, transfer this here, do this, do there. But in China, we'll tell you what they're doing. If they caught you on the street, or they tracked your phone and they knew that you were part of the millions, remember there's over 1 billion people, 1.45 billion in China, they just stop your ability to buy food. They crash your bank account, and you look in it in your high-tech crypto impressive world, and there's nothing there. The account's down to zero. You call up the bank or you go down there and they say, we don't know what happened. One thing, folks, you do not want to have occur is the tyranny in China take things over. And the sad part is that a tremendous number of people, including Notch, that's Joe, are being supremely blackmailed by the Chinese. What could they be blackmailed about? Could it be pedophilia? Could it be trafficking in organs, trafficking in children, trafficking in people, trafficking in body parts? Of course, it's very dark. And Joe's not alone. All those people that are supporting him are covering for him. Are things going to get nasty? Very. Very, very, very. These people who are doing these very dark deeds and who hate Donald Trump because, in spite of his quirks and his craziness, he is hell-bent, to use that swear word there, on taking these people down. He is not alone. There's a large group of what we call white T-shirts, who know that they're not just dealing with people. What does it say in the Bible? Something about principalities. It means collections of intelligence, consciousness, and energy. And the word evil is arising more and more and more in today's language, in what people are coming to the conclusion of. So uprisings all over the globe, large and small, are taking place. The large numbers are going to topple governments. They're going to destabilize countries. But thinking people, even in the smallest villages in the remote part of the world, are starting to put things together. Things that are important to put together. And these next few days, of course, are a re-stimulation of the energy that really lit up your planet in December of 2012, when the Mayans had all manner of prognostications pointing to a specific date when energy would be profound. So, if you wonder about living and being here and dealing with these times, you're not going to want to miss it. Not going to want to miss this. Do you know how many lifetimes you have prepared to be in the right place with the right genealogy, to meet the right people? Your psychic presence is profound. But everything we have been describing to you in destructive terms is being designed to squelch that, to have you doubt your integrity of your beingness, of your body. Do yourself a favor, all of you, in this holiday season. Give yourself the gift of really looking in your own eyes and meeting the spirit of yourself that resides within you. Very important to take a look in that capacity. Another big issue that people are dealing with is the instability of young people. And it's because they have been abandoned. It's also because of their karma. Everyone is a creator. There are no victims. There are situations where it may look as if you are the object of someone else's wrath or folly or vindictiveness or whatever. but there's always a point and a purpose. And when something unpleasant may happen to someone, it does not mean, oh, you've been bad and so you have to have a bad thing happen to you now. A lot of it's how you handle it and what you do with it. Sometimes a bad thing that happens to you is so difficult to integrate and disturbing that you have to ruminate over it for a while until you figure out what it's about, and you wake up and perhaps you change the course, or you leave certain people, or you move in a new direction, or you have a realization about people that you thought you could trust, family, friends, etc. So with children, as we said, they've been abandoned by their parents. When children see parents on devices all day, then children mimic and mirror. The COVID lockdown, of course, it appears has had very severe consequences on young people because they lost their ability to socialize in person, and so they began to become stalked by predators in their own bedrooms, of their own doing, of course. No one forces them to look at those devices. They could say, hey, Mom, let's make potholders. Hey, Dad, let's get a dog. Please, can we get a dog? I'll feed it, I'll walk it. Dad, come on, Dad. This is what's happened to young people. When you are addicted, it's very difficult to break an addiction. Some people are addicted, they have mild addictions. They might smoke a cigarette a day. They might have a puff now and again. They might have their little square of chocolate every evening, all right? But that's more of a habit. Addiction is something that controls you, that you have to have, that you are compulsed. And there's been all manner of reports of parents taking phones away from children, and children literally going bonkers, some attempting suicide. That's a withdrawal. Now, there's rough waters ahead. January and February are going to be difficult times. Right now, starting about 2 weeks ago, thereabouts, Pluto moved to 27 degrees Capricorn. The USA Pluto is 27 degrees Capricorn. It will be exact just after Christmas or some such. But you're in it now. Watch what's unfolding in terms of lies, betrayals, scandals, and reveals. That will be exact until mid-January. This Pluto to Pluto is going to topple the governmental systems, the business sector. Layoffs are on the rise all across the board, from tech all the way down to, let's say, even animal shelters can't find people. They've got more animals than ever. They don't have the help. Job loss, inflation, cost of living. Gas might be down, but diesel is up. Everything transports with diesel. Celebrate, but tighten your belt. Get out of debt. Do not charge anything on your credit cards unless you have the money to pay it off when it is due the next month. Because you will find the rates will accelerate to such an extent. And it's not easy to file bankruptcy. Many people may find themselves without a home, without shelter. And in the meantime, the illegal immigrants, those invasions from the border that are being funded by George Soros and others, they are occupying all manner of apartments, and there's a big shift going on with bringing in unvaccinated hordes and hordes by the millions of people with low skills but great desire to live in a country where everything's going to be free, free health care, free this, free that. It's not free, you're paying for it. Your taxes are going to escalate. You're not going to be able, in some capacity, in some areas, to live. There's a big buzz among many people, shall I move now? Well, real estate is going to crash. Perhaps not in this Raleigh area yet, because here you have jobs, but there's a tremendous amount of tech and medical in the Raleigh area. Medical's done. It's just a matter of time, the level of betrayals. And the staff is not there. They are sick, or they're quitting, or they've died. And this is super high-tech area. Tech is going to be exposed as a total controlling manipulator through algorithms and cancelizations and all kinds of things of your reality. Again, what is real? What is true? So it looks as if even over Christmas you're going to get a wham, 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 wham. All kinds of things are coming out. Make certain that you are clear about your directions, what you are and are not available for. And by all means, folks, figure out your relationship with money. Manage it, manifest it. Work for it. That's where you get the greatest satisfaction, when you work for it. So back to the teens. They are supremely depressed. They are confused. They have no life experience. And as our vehicle said recently, giving children, any age, under 20, a cell phone is like handing them a can of gasoline and a pack of matches and saying, go out and create. That is how dangerous it is. What is coming through is designed to destroy civilization. Yet the information that is available can create an enhancement for those who can handle it of getting a bigger picture about where you've come from, where you are, and likely where you are going. In other words, the true history of the planet. But there is a massive push to keep you under lock and key, at least in a way to confuse your mind. So these are very, very important factors to consider. Let's scan a little bit here and see. In terms of health, stress is the killer. And take it easy. Simplify. Don't spend money you don't have. Don't plan such big galas that you are exhausted and you can't enjoy your family and your friends. Prayer is very powerful. To put a blessing out, to also set your intentions. Intentionality is a way that you create. And it's very easy to say, I intend that my life unfolds with grace and ease. And if you start saying that to yourself, you may find that it's exactly what happens. That you are always in the right place at the right time. Right people, right situations, and that gives you, again, that boost of energy in the body, where you feel good, you feel safe, you feel confident. This is what you are striving for. All right, so let's stay on this health issue here for a few more minutes. Reach out if you know teenagers or those that are younger, and do what you can to help them just be regular. The things that are being normalized today, They're wanting to normalize gender changing, wanting to normalize insanity, people who are completely bonkers. You just had a man, he was the charge of nuclear things in the Biden administration, and he's bald and he wears these glamorous dresses, and he's so hip there with the new LGBT, that refers to confused. How else can we say it? It's just what it is. He's posed in all these stilettos and platforms and leg shots, bald as a cue ball there, and glamorous dresses. He steals women's luggage out of airports, and he's the epitome who's in charge of nuclear waste or nuclear something. Now, insanity is the word of the year, which is there's a push to normalize insanity, to normalize suicide. Yes. Assisted suicide, or, well, if you don't feel good, just kill yourself. And then the push to normalize genital mutilation. This, of course, is going to be extremely confusing to young children. And if they are exposed to drag queens and all of this rainbow banner of bizarreness, we don't even know what to call it besides insanity. If you are a young person and this is what you are seeing in the world, it can be very, very, very confusing and depressing. And then with a device that allows you to go anywhere and do anything without your parents knowing. And remember, every generation is born more savvy with tech than the previous one. So no matter how savvy the parents are with their tech surveillance, the kids are way more savvy and know how to have secret passwords and cover everything up, and they have become. We hear the beeper, thank you. The children have become full of deception. When a family, the family unit that allows you to be here, when the family unit is based on deception, historically speaking, any therapist will tell you it's a dysfunctional family at best. At worst, it's just, it's supremely harmful for all involved, and the family cannot stay together. And it's interesting, at the very top of the rulership, there's no trust anymore, except for the fools who can't think. They trust a little bit of authority in government. But for a large majority of people, trust is in tatters. They don't know where to turn. Remember, always turn to yourself, to your inner world, to the spark of divinity that connects you to the meaning of this life. As we've said, seek meaning and purpose will follow. Now, learn to relax. Learn to be at peace with yourself. Simplify. It's very, very important to offer a simplification of your own life. And ideally, these ideas and believing in yourself will give you the strength to navigate a bit of what's ahead. But we want to end on a little laughter here, so let's see if we can give you a mild pigeon report here on those who are flying high for freedom. And well, go ahead there, take it away, guys, and see what kind of scoops you want to offer. All right, so there's a new batch. We said they're rascals, absolute rascals, and they have a secret mission. They are not like Plumpy and Pie, who are looking for their mission. This new pigeon patrol, the Quad, has Pasha at the head, and then after Pasha is Peerless. Right there, you know you've got some egos involved, and then you have Picaro. Yes, Picaro. It's Spanish for being a rascal. Picaro. And the last one is Peyote. Peyote can let you know what this Peyote is all about. All right, so you have Pasha, Peerless, Picaro, and Peyote, the tripper. They have a new super secret assignment. And they are very inspired by something that happened quite a while back when some prankster a few years ago was putting cowboy hats on pigeons. Perhaps you recall this. Now, this is for real. And people were taking pictures of these pigeons with cowboy hats. And then they were wanting to track down who it was that was harming the pigeons and doing all of this. Well, Pasha and company are completely inspired. And they now are going to wear turbans. Yes. And turbans are part of their disguise for their super secret new assignment, where they are going to have to go into, quote, turban-wearing territory, and they want to blend in. We thought you'd get a chuckle about that. Yes, absolutely. And in closing, we'll give a little report here from Peanuts and Popcorn. Of course, you know they are Joe's keepers. And he feeds them peanuts and popcorn, and their report is this. After he went to the Control of People conference over there in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, and of course they have secret forays, all these people. Sharm el-Sheikh is on Red Sea. Of course, they all go to conclaves in the Giza Plateau, underneath the pyramid. They are shown things. They are thinking they are the elite of the planet. So Joe came home and he decided that he had all these new friends. 400 some odd jets flew in, etc. He said that he for Christmas presents he's going to use the he's going to buy from the My Pillow man. He's going to buy Giza dream sheets for all the world leaders. Yes, hundreds, perhaps thousands of they're on sale, of course. Thousands of sets of Giza dream sheets for world leaders, and he's using the promo code pigeons. He's a sharp one, that Nacho. He said that some of them were mad about getting their My Slippers, but since they've all been to Giza, he thought that he would be now the top, the top what? Top something there, and one-up them with Christmas presents. So we thought you'd get a bit of a laugh out of that, and Peanuts and Popcorn call him the sniffer-in-chief. And they said, if you knew what he was sniffing, you wouldn't want to know, so just keep it on that and buy your own Giza dream sheets for Christmas. All right, friends, time to take a bit of recess and watch out for those pigeons with turbans, and we'll come back for your questions in part 2 of Tricky Times. All right, we are here once again for part 2 of this afternoon's discussion, and let's get it rolling here and see what we can do. So who would like to ask a question, please?
This is Roger.
Rog, welcome.
I'll start things off with a subject having to do with food shortages.
With what?
Food shortages.
Food shortages, all right. Speak loud and clear.
There has been an effort to as I've been observing, get rid of protein sources.
Oh yes, bugs are on the menu.
And so also cream is at a premium and is continuing to go up.
What is at a premium?
Cream, that's, milk cream.
Yes.
It really started going up a year or so ago. And so those two are, there's many more also, but particularly in general, food sources, I've been, effort has been made to eliminate food sources, like getting rid of fertilizer plants.
Oh, absolutely.
And
This is part of the difficulty that is coming.
Right. So next year, the food will probably go out of sight because of the lack of its availability. I thought you might want to comment on that.
Well, yes, and what will arise, of course, and right after Christmas, all the home gardeners are getting out the catalogs and thinking about seeds and all of this. And in some capacity, all of this global attempt at population reduction and confusion and dependency on authority that has absolutely no integrity, the upside of it is that can compel you to be more self-sufficient, to be more independent and more innovative. Now, you can say, oh, there's nothing we can do against these tech monsters and these globalists and all the people that are out there. Well, if you believe that, then that's your stance. There's always something you can do, because there's always a bend in the fabric of reality. There's always your thought process that you simply set out in your mind. I'm going to have food, I'm going to grow it, I'm going to become part of a farm, a CSA, that would mean community supported agriculture. But there will be a rise in home gardening, and we dare say greenhouses, even small little tiny ones. A small amount of gardening space can produce a tremendous amount of food. We realize fertilizer is an issue. There are alternative ways of doing things, and of course, always when you are gardening, to work with the spirits of nature and to call them in. And of course, there's the practicality of bugs and pests and rodents and all of this. So it's going to be challenging for many, many people. The smart ones will find innovation. The befuddled and the confused, well, we'll see how they fare. There's not enough money, not enough volunteers in the U.S. right now to cover all of the people who are going to need assistance. One thing we will say will be tumbled also, not just food, but you will find that governmental programs may be stymied, even though there's this push to print and print and print and print. The more money that is printed, the less your money is worth. But there, at some point, will have to be a massive cutback, and at worst case basis, the brand will fail. What does that mean? It means that the presidency has been tarnished, that the legislature, the judicial, are all tarnished, and the United States government just circles a black hole and goes down the drain. This is high potentiality for some very, very severe things in March, when Pluto goes into Aquarius and Saturn goes into Pisces. Saturn in Pisces is going to see government, Saturn, positions of authority everywhere, whether it's hospitals, schools, any positions of authority. Saturn in Pisces, complete self-undoing, complete and total vanishing collapse. That's what you are living with for the next couple of years until mid-2025. You must get your ducks in a row. All right, who else has a question?
Please?
Yes.
This is Joseph.
Joseph, welcome.
Okay, Aquarius.
Aquarius, yes.
Okay, continuing on that, people that are Aquarius, how will we be dealing with the Pluto coming into Aquarius? How can we get through that?
Well, ask the people who had Pluto in Capricorn how they got through it.
Does that mean we look forward to fur babies eventually?
To look forward to what?
Fur babies.
Fur babies. Well, yes.
If you'd like.
We forgot to call Roger Fur Daddy. If you want fur babies, it depends. Roger's on his own mission there. But how will those of you who are Aquarius deal with
How can we help
those?
navigate it?
Now, first of all, when Pluto moves through a sign, it will take decades in general. A short Pluto pass is about 15 years. Often, long Pluto pass could be 35 to 40 years. So it moves about 2-3 degrees a year. So you, by March, if you are early Aquarius, you will have Pluto on your sun. If you were ill, for example, and you had a big health issue, Pluto could blow it up and make it worse. If you are under financial duress, for example, Pluto is about wealth and money, it could bring big loss, big loss. Pluto pushes wherever it goes. It pushes the person or the government or the country to die to the old, to make room to be reborn. For you, Joseph, if you are right on the cusp there, Pluto will be back and forth on your sun for a few years. It's not a quick thing. So your life, and all of you that are Aquarians, your life is going to be transformed. It's going to be changed in some way. Whether you change your living situation, your money situation, your family situation, Pluto compels to let the old die so something new can be reborn. Just remember that. Who else has a question? Anyone?
My name's Tammy. Tammy.
And what is your sign?
I'm a Leo.
And you are a Leo.
Yes, in Western. So prior to COVID-19, the elites had the event 201.
Keep your voice up.
Just recently, they had another little grouping where they did a similar type of thing as event 201. My question is, do you have any timing on when they're going to unleash the next pandemic?
Well, if proceedings move as they are anticipated in Republican, quote, investigations, and things are on the cusp of being revealed, any force that is very desperate is going to do anything to cover up that kind of revelation. So we are seeing, again, January, February, March are not easy times in the USA. And what happens in the USA is going to ripple and affect other government situations, other cabal members. It is exposure time. And so when any desperate force starts to be revealed, and they are going to react in a very desperate manner. And so it could be this winter, could be after Christmas, or over the Christmas holidays. In other words, they are feeling the heat now, Tammy. And let's say the next pandemic, there's a few pandemics that are ahead. They want to hit your children. They want to, well, they have lots of plans. this, we would say, it's up to you how you want to deal with it. Our advice is to boost your immune system. Keep your immune systems. This is the best you can do, is research and find out the best way to keep your immune system strong. Remember, electronics weaken your immune system. No matter how much you are addicted to these things, they weaken your immune system. What else, Tammy?
That's it. Thank you very much.
Who has a question?
Hi, Peas.
Loud and clear. Yes, who is it?
Hi, Peas. My name is Jody, and I'm a Leo.
Jody, Leo, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm a little bit nervous, so please bear with me. I have been entrusted with, I've got a soul contract with two 14-year-old teenagers. I'm their parent. They're my twins, Aquarians. And so while I can monitor what they consume media-wise while they're in my house, I cannot really, they're exposed. So to try to get ahead of that, oftentimes I will just turn on the TV or pay attention to, what's out there. I haven't watched TV in many years, and noticing that turning it on now, it's a different experience. And my question is this, I'm very adept at discerning, I can see the agendas. But my question is, I've also noticed, on TV now, there's sort of, and even in the music industry, there's sort of a shift in the energy change where it almost seems like I'm detecting sort of a Pleiadian type of energy. My question is it possible that these industries have also been infiltrated by the white t-shirts and are also working to wake up the people who are still addicted to this outlet or form of information? Or is that also part of the deception? Because it confuses me.
It can be either or. Julie.
Right. It causes me trepidation because on some level it resonates, and then because a lot of these things I see are things that you've taught that have been discussed in your books. And is it a trick?
Listen, it's long been known that people in Hollywood have listened to our work.
Okay.
And then, of course, they apply it in whatever capacity they want. Now, if you have children, any of you, make certain you have meals together. Make certain there's no devices, and you can come up with, but. If you don't have regular meals together that are home cooked, you are blowing it as a parent and as a family. Your priority is to raise children, to eat with them, to cook good food for them, to educate them, to have stimulating discussion at the table with no phone calls, no TV, no music, no nothing. Bond the family. That's number one for all of you, all around the world. Now, in terms of looking at television, our vehicle stopped watching 50 years ago and doesn't look at screens in general. So if it's on the TV, it's owned by the corrupt organizations. They want to control you. This is what programming is. And of course, they're going to use the lingo of the day and twist it around so that it sounds good. And this is how you capture people. If it's really legitimate and really sincere, it will come through. But in general, television is trash. Do you follow this?
Agreed, 100%.
And so they will do anything to get eyes on their program to boost their ratings. And of course, the visual industry is learning that there's a lot of competition, and they're not sure who's what and where to look and all this. But most of what's on TV is a Coca-Cola. In other words, it's a climate change. It's a climate emergency. It's a climate emergency. It's climate change. It's climate change. You can blame it for everything. And of course, everyone's a victim.
Yes.
And whenever you hear anything that there's nothing you can do about it, you are a victim, or you're in the wrong body, or, we said a while back, it used to be in the 90s when people were being taken over in the New Age movement. They were encouraged to change their name. to give up their identity and to put a new age name on it so that you weren't the old regular person you were born with. You had a new name. Today they want to chop your body up because there was no money in people changing their names. There's a lot of money in any kind of medical intervention, especially if you are a medical experiment for life. So be wary of it. Be wary of it. Anything else, Jody?
No, thank you.
Questions?
Yes, P, this is Hina,
Hina, yes.
Yes.
Welcome. What is your sign?
Aquarius.
Aquarius, all right there. Joseph, you've got some company around you. Usually like clusters together. All right, so welcome, and what is your question?
Question is about my home country, Tanzania. I've listened
Tanzania.
Yes, I've listened to some of your channelings, and you've talked about East Africa and the Anunnaki connection. You've never specifically mentioned Tanzania, so I'd like to...
But it's right in vicinity there, yes?
Yeah, it's Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Eritrea.
Eritrea, there's then
Uganda.
Madagascar down the road where many experiments where, they were isolated on the island.
Yeah, and last year, the president, who was an avid COVID vaccine denier, suddenly, he died. And I'm wondering if there's a link with the new president in Peru who got removed, and he was supported by the indigenous and rural people, and he recently just got removed and imprisoned. And I know that Tanzania has some sacred nodes or knolls with Mount Kilimanjaro and some of, where its location for our planet Earth, but I need to understand a little bit more.
All right, we'll see what we can do to give you a picture on your homeland. There's nothing like resonating and finding about more from where your birthland is. And if it's not your birthland, the birthland of your parents or grandparents or even great-grandparents, if you are that far removed. And we've often suggested that the diaspora that came out of Africa and the dispersion of black people around the planet, particularly in times of slavery coming to the USA, but slavery is much older than coming out of Africa. It's very, very, very ancient. And the Arabs, of course, were big on collecting slaves and all of this. But that diaspora, it disconnects you from your homeland. And Africa, of course, is a magnificent, vibrating continent. We in our vehicle have been there many, many times. Egypt in particular, but we've been to southern Egypt and South Africa, Morocco, of course a few trips there to the Red Sea, etc. Enki, one of the two Anunnaki brothers, that's very ancient and, and reptilian in nature, the brother Enki, son of Anu, was given the assignment of managing Earth and exploring its resources of gold and helping to supply that gold for the planet Nibiru. This began about 445,000 years ago, 500,000 years, right? So within a number of their years, and a year to the Anunnaki is 3,600. We are going to cover a few Anunnaki things for you because you may resonate. 3,600 years, very Anunnaki. Reptilian, serpent, very, very Anunnaki. Now, eventually, Enki set up his communities in the north, in Egypt. And of course, if you follow the Nile, it doesn't quite go to Tanzania, but it ends up in the lake of the Victoria Lake and that whole area. And East Africa is where Enki set up his laboratories and did extensive research into the human genome, into all manner of earth animals. And he and his sister, Nin Herzog, who's also called Mama or Mami, there they performed for hundreds of thousands of years all manner of experimentation. They brought many of their products from Nibiru, which passed through every 3,600 years, but there were excursions, and a tremendous amount of biology was transferred from Nibiru to Earth and from Earth to Nibiru. The other location for Enki in Africa would be South Africa. That is where the mining, the gold mining, took place. Tremendous tunnel systems and underground systems, and very, very ancient records, pyramids, all kinds of things all over South Africa. Ancient remnants of ancient cities at one time, highly, highly populated. Your area, East Africa, versus West Africa, is where many of the slaves came out of and were sold by their own people to slave traders. But East Africa is the experimentation center. South would be the wealth, the gold, the workers, and then the hierarchy, the rulership, where kingship was put on earth from the Anunnaki gods, so to speak, and the rulership would be at the northern portion in Egypt. In between are all manner of civilizations. There was an ancient civilization of giants that lived in the Sahara. Eventually, through mismanagement of land and wars, the Sahara, of course, turned into a massive desert. Ask something else about Tanzania if you want to.
So, interestingly enough, it's been one of the most politically peaceful countries since decolonization, and initially it was a German colony. And
So it was under the Germans?
Yeah, it was called Tanganyika. And then after World War II, when Germany got
Well, that was it got punished, and there was redistribution
then
of land.
Britain took it over, and it remained poor until they opened up the mining. I mean, because they've got a wealth of precious gems like tanzanite and other things, and it's never had a civil war or a military coup, unlike Kenya, which is right across the border.
It's always in turmoil.
Yeah, and Tanzania's, so it's always got me thinking, why? Yeah.
Well, there were more things hidden in Kenya, and so there was a greater need to suppress the people. Tanzania sort of got forgotten, a little further down, tucked away, you understand? Does not mean that there's not treasures there. It's part of the ancient empires of the Anunnaki. And when was the last time you visited?
94. I haven't had an opportunity to go back yet, but 94.
Well, perhaps you will.
Yeah.
And when you go back, you will have new eyes and new energy. But here's something you can do. Focus on the beauty and the peace of your country. And from this distance, call forth whatever is secret and good to come forward to uplift the people. This is how it works. That people focus on something good. They send their energy, their intentionality, their prayers. And this is how things are opened up. Consciousness has more power than anything else on the planet. Use your consciousness to sort of give your homeland a burst. And if we come up with more things, we'll let you know. But yes, Tanzanite, of course, is a lovely gemstone. All right, who else has a question?
Hi,
William?
Peace.
I'm William. I'm a Capricorn.
William, all right, Capricorn.
Yes, I've been following the Twitter files since they've been coming out. And,
What have you discovered from Elon's revelations?
that Twitter was a wholly owned subsidiary of the FBI, and they had a direct...
Say it again. Let's get that really clear, that Twitter was
A wholly owned subsidiary of the FBI,
the FBI.
among other agencies.
There you get those alphabets once again.
Yes.
So it
And-
means that the FBI was in total collusion and control of COVID and U.S. elections, just for starters, yes?
Just for start, they had a direct access point to Twitter. They can just telephone up instantly or send an email over.
And tell Twitter what to do and what not to do.
Yes.
And what about Jack Dorsey? Is he really clueless?
Who knows? But the question that comes to me is, I necessarily don't trust Elon at all. Although he did put out a tweet that has said, "My pronouns are prosecute Fauci."
Yes, that was quite clever of him. But Elon, remember, Elon's got a super, super edgy side.
Yes.
And he plays both sides.
Right.
Again, don't jump into anyone's camp, people, but observe. Please continue. What's your name again?
William.
William. All right, William. Go ahead.
Well, I enjoy the chaos of it all, but I don't trust him. So
Good.
my question is, what's his angle? He could have just as easily kept it all a secret, and we would have not known any of this. Is it just for the chaos?
Good thinking, William. So what is his angle? What is everyone looking for? Savior, yes? A superhero. There's Donald Trump. He gives a big announcement. And what does he put out? A non-fungible token or something of him in a Superman costume? That's his big announcement. Although to cover his faux pas, he apparently did release some data points there late in the day and sort of gives remember, Donald Trump loves to give the media mooses and babies and buffaloes and T-Rexes, and he loves to make them crazy. But what would Elon be after? Could this be a setup? Goodness gracious, here's a man who has neural links that can put things in the brain or fix brains. Here's a man who has tunnel systems. Well, that's what Enki was famous for. Enki, who owned Africa. He was the famous engineer, the tunneler. There you have Elon naming one of his children Ea, which is Enki's name. Ea, number 12. That's 12 from the Council of 12. Then he's got a daughter named, what is it? Linda knows there. Dark something. Dark Sidereal. And he named the daughter Y. Y is men. X is women, chromosome-wise. Then he's got the space organization there that the puffies are spying on him with, and you count on those puffies, they'll give you the scoop. They follow Elon's ships into space and talk about what's going on. And then he's got the Tesla automobile. Does it look like he's setting himself up for planetary savior? And then he's going to expose all the bad guys? Apparently he did reinstate some of the doctors that were canceled, that were giving big warnings about COVID. But he hasn't really taken a big stance there yet, because that's the big planetary problem. So he's a player. And it's been long rumored that he's funded by Langley. That means the other alphabet, CIA. That's not supposed to have anything to do with domestic activities. FBI is domestic, and CIA is foreign problems. So, yes, it's entertaining. He's certainly exposing the corruption of the FBI and all of those who want to control your elections. Again, these people are very, very threatened by Donald Trump, and what he represented was the exposure of pedophilia. Remember, Hunter Biden, his nickname for his father was Pedo Pete. Yes, PPP, President Pete Pete. How do you like that? The more these people are in the news, the more they've got a sleazy side. That's sort of the name of the game. You do not have too many good people out there. So it is entertaining, William. And Elon may set himself up as the world's savior. You know, lots of people are looking for the Antichrist. Some people think it's Bill Gates. And the one of the definitions of the Antichrist is that this person will be like a superstar, and they will come and have ability to do all kinds of things and to help and uplift and save humankind. But they will really be supposedly a representative of the dark. Now, Elon has a very strange background. And he has a lot of Anunnaki footprints, tremendous number. And Enki, the brother that fought with his other brother Enlil, in this Anunnaki hierarchy, to track it back to your godships, your godhood, and all of this, Enlil was the one powerful god. And he made his brother Enki into Satan, the devil. It's too early to connect the dots and to jump to conclusions. Again, these are tricky times. Very, very tricky times. But in time, all things will be revealed. And when you want, any of you, when you want greater clarity on anything at all, then ask for it. Before you fall asleep is your most powerful time. And set it into motion in the dream state, because in the dream state, that's your playground. And you are contacting with higher selves and past and future and dimensions and all this. So ask for greater clarity and greater understanding. And then playfully watch how you might turn the radio on, or you might just suddenly click on something online, or you start a discussion with something and they just, or someone, you start a discussion with someone, not something really, but there are some things out there that you could use that as well. And you are given, just serendipitously, synchronistically, exactly what you need. And there's a bit of an aside here, all of you, ideally you would be experiencing this synchronistic weaving of events. Very often, our vehicle may have the radio on, for example, and then she may be sitting there looking at a magazine or newspaper or something, just perusing it, that means looking at it, and she'll read 2 words. And as she reads those words, those exact words are said on the radio. If you are experiencing this in any capacity where you are looking at something and you are hearing the words, or hearing the words and then looking at something and seeing it, might not be the same context, but the words are identical. It's not the idea. It's you read blue sky, then they say blue sky. You read COVID and suddenly someone's saying COVID. Watch for this. It's showing you how easily you can be in tune, that you are looking at something and hearing it, and you, on some psychically perceptual attuned level, are totally in sync and in flow with things. Get there. Get to desire to want to be there, and you will start finding that even as things are very tumultuous, reality will support you and play with you, because, as we've said many times, you are much more interesting when you are aware. Oh, the dark forces find unaware people very available for destruction, to go out and ram cars and kill people and do drugs and all that kind of craziness. But the good forces are looking for thinking, smartly aware people, and they play with you and they let you know. in that capacity. Sometimes you may be busy doing something and suddenly you feel the impulse to go look out the window. And right then, when you are looking out the window, there's a hawk that's looking back in. Or there's some animal activity that you wouldn't have wanted to miss. This is your connection. And often you find it enforced when you return to nature. So do you have any other insights on Elon, William?
No, I'm just, well, fortunately, thanks to teaching like yours, I'm beyond the need for saviors, and I hope most people get there. But
Good, but they may not. And so be patient with them.
Yes.
And if you understand that that's what they are thinking about, remember, Christianity is all about Jesus Christ, the Savior, is born. Remember, this is the season you are coming into. And this is the Jesus figure, of course, was a figure of peace and love. But how many people were killed and how many wars were fought over this character of peace and love? And your religious icons, well, they serve a purpose, but in general, all religions are some extension of the Anunnaki colonization. Is there a God? Absolutely. There is a divine spark of godness and creation. And it is this that you find within yourself, so that you, as you said, you can save yourself from whatever and use that God that's in you to be an extension of it. And that is an evolved soul, an evolved thinker, a player, someone who can play in the game and have life. And we are Pleiades, we are the Pleiades, we are not the serious nutcases, we are the Pleiades. So we attract players. We attract those who want to have a good time, especially parties, of course. And wait till the pigeons throw a party. You haven't even seen that yet, but they're waiting for the turban group to have some success. That's one of the best ones they've come up with, wearing turbans so that they will blend in. It's brilliantly stupid, but nonetheless, that's the pigeons. So things will unfold, and as the expression goes, time will tell. In these next 2 years, really are going to reveal a lot about people. And as Dr. Eads and others are saying, many will die from COVID, but many will find their coping skills not up to par. And they may just move into despair. And again, despair, confusion, cell phones, it weakens the immune system. Laughter is one of the best immune systems boosters. That's why we developed the PPP, the Pleiadian Pigeon Patrol. We are here to save the day. All right, and the pigeons may save the day, but don't count on other saviors. You understand? All right, who has a question?
Hi, Peace.
Hi, who is it?
Danae, Aquarius.
Danae. You're Aquarius also?
Yes.
Is this a secret Aquarian party here tonight? You've snuck in there. The Aquarians are always, if there's any sign that finds each other, it's the Aquarians. Because they are an air sign, as you know, and the moon today is in Libra. So the moon is trining all the Aquarians, and it's always been this way. These Aquarians find each other. They have a quirkiness. They have a network. They have some kind of thinking process that, the rest of us are learning about. We are Taurus, so we are really the bull. But also Aquarius is said to be Enki's sign, the water pourer.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so Danae, welcome. And what questions do you have for us?
I wanted to know, are we still on track for having major Earth changes in the more soon coming years, like 24, 25?
Is the Earth on track for major Earth changes?
Yes.
We see more that you are in the process of weather wars and weather wars going out of control than you are with natural earth changes. Although, if the war in Ukraine, which many of the globalists want this war, because it gives them a place to focus, and a lot of money laundering and dumping of munitions, and then of course funding of new munitions. So we see a war, that the war drums beating, and we see that the globalists have backed off of some of their geoengineering because they lost track of the ability, or they lost control, let's say, when they create earthquakes. When they create storms, weather storms, then snow, rain, hurricanes, wind, such, they feel that is in their purview. But earthquakes, could they? Could someone push a button and start to crack the earth in half because they are crazy? Yes, but au naturel, we don't see anything too prevailing in the near future. What else would you like to know?
Is this going to be, I'm doing a lot of research, and I know you guys have prepared us a lot for the children issue, like this huge, dark, hidden thing that's now surfacing with all the child abuse, the human trafficking. Is this going to become way more mainstream versus a lot of us who have really gone over a lot of this information and it's just absolutely catastrophically horrendous? Is this going to be something that we get to a point where this is so mainstream that people really see things for what they really are and people for who really are? Because it's really...
It's dark. It's very dark.
Bad.
It's very dark, and you haven't even touched the deep, 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 dark, dark, dark
Which
yet.
is even worse.
It's very, very dark. Here's the problem. Large majority of people, even those who want to be Coca-Cola and go along with everything, it's too much for them. And generally, most parents are very protective of their children, as is your biology designed to be, especially mothers. And today, people want to be best friends with their children. They can't give them enough, and the children have more than any children have ever had before, and they are the most unhappy children out there because they have everything they want, and they're not told to work for it, or they don't have suppers together. They don't have, quote, enough of a grounded, traditional home life. Now, it's creepy, 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 but it's promoted in the media as lies. So people are made to think that everybody else thinks it's okay and I'm one of the few who finds it creepy. These are the reversals. Remember, when you are dealing with the Satanists, they, no matter where the source comes from, it's not Enki as Satan, but that's what they want to project. When you are dealing with Satans, the Satanist kind of practitioner, the cult, they reverse everything. Good is bad, bad is good. Woman is man, man is woman. War is peace, peace is... They reverse everything. And this, of course, has its roots in the last 150 years, a little more than that, in Marxism, in communism. That was Karl Marx, his claim to fame of working with the devil and being given these ideas that completely flip everything that creates a stabilized society. And today people can't recognize the roots in Marxism because they're not taught. They're taught to hate everything, hate their body, hate their country, hate, and to be victims. And then when you believe you are a victim and you've been marginalized, then that gives them the right to then go steal and destroy. Look how many cities in the United States are, they don't prosecute people for stealing anymore. Not at all, especially if it's under $1,000. But there's stories of people walking into big stores, big box stores, filling up carts and just rolling it out the door, and no one stops them because the police don't come. This, of course, is happening in the very major cities, but wherever the police have decided it's not safe for them to be, or the police force are diminished, or they are punished, you're going to have this kind of lawlessness, raw energy. Danae, you have 2 more years until things really change. Now, this is not going to be travesty and tumult everywhere. The larger the city and the closer you are to a larger city, the more likely you will be caught up in all this. Use your intentionality. On some capacity, these dark forces want to normalize all of this abhorrent behavior, this deviant and perverse sexual behavior. They want, and sexual energy is the most powerful energy that you have to learn how to manage in your body. Yes, you have psychic energy, but most of you are not tapped into it. But the energy that all humans have, emotionality and sexuality, and these can lift you up or they can destroy you. Remember, sex needs love with it. Then you are in safe territory. But all the pedos say they have new things today. They're called, MAPs?
Minor attracted person.
Minor attracted person, yes. They want to make excuses for this is natural. Babies have sex. Yes, you have sexual energy in you, but it is not appropriate, really, in your own welfare, to cultivate sexual energy until you are in your mid to late teens, and even then you don't know what you're doing. But to attempt to bring sexuality to children, and prepubescent children, adolescents, they will never mature properly. And ask people who have been sexually abused, it all comes rolling back to them. They can't get past it. Yes, it's a big problem. It's going to grow bigger. Again, pornography is the number 1 most researched and most addicted thing on the internet. And so the things that are helping you expand are also the things that are destroying society. Protect your children. You don't have to be best friends with them. That comes when they're in their 30s and 40s. You are their steward. You are their rule maker. As Jody said, you can influence your children when they are with you, but when they are not with you, then the values that you instill in them ideally will ring true. And if they respect you, then they will want to emulate you. It's never ever been more challenging to be a parent than it is today.
I agree.
Yes, this is very, 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 very big one. And so use your intentions, put protection around your children. The mother has the power because the mother carried the child. So the mother can cloak the child in an aura, and the mother, sorry guys, but your little wiggly sperm there help out. We don't want to discount you. But the mother carrying the child, the bond is there, and she has psychic ability to know where and when and what's happening with the children. Activate it. This will become more pronounced, and it will pass. But Danae, what's going on behind the scenes, and that has been going on the scenes for decades, needs to come forward. And the people of Earth need to see how dark things are. And they were dark over and over again throughout the Anunnaki rule. The Anunnaki, some of them, set up civilizations where the worship was around the sacrifice of children. Whether it was Baal or Moloch, whether it was in the Aztec world in Mexico. Recently there was a big hullabaloo about Balenciaga. Yes, it is a fashion house. And it was pointed out that Balenciaga, Baal. Baal is Moloch, the god of old, who demands child sacrifice and blood and ripping out hearts and organs. And they're now a fashion group that the KKKs, the Kardashian kitty movers they're all part of it. That is why you have that breaking down and looking like a nutcase. He's breaking out of programming, and as soon as he breaks out of programming, someone attempts to put him back in, or he hits a wall, because when you would be highly programmed, if you break out of your program, there's going to be fail-safe programs that will come in that will discount what you say. And he may have 100 programs that will make him look bad, so that as he's attempting to break out and tell the truth, one of his screen memories or another alternative program will come in and make people dismiss him and say, get him out of here. But he's been under lock and key, and he's been drugged into oblivion to keep his mouth shut. There are controllers of all of these people. Sometimes they are their trainers, or the ones they work out with and do their exercises. Interesting, yes?
Yes.
Lot to learn, so much to learn. We don't want to cover dark stuff all the time, but you have to know it. And you have to know the good stuff, too. And the good stuff is important. And speaking of good stuff, we bet that all these women in the room have got a lot of good recipes they're going to cook up over Christmas and express your creativity and your generosity and feeding others. And one of the best things you can do is share food with one another. Homemade food and the gifts of your own creation, your traditional recipes, your family heritage, no matter what your beliefs are. This is a nice time to celebrate, and so find some reasons to celebrate and protect your children. Do not indulge them. And learn to say no to them. No, this is not going to work. No, mommy doesn't have the money. We can't afford it. It's all right. And let them know. One of the biggest deficits that young people have today is they don't know math. They don't know how to read. So if you want to control the people, make sure they don't know how to read, and then that's it. They'll never figure anything out. But young people today, they can't make change in the grocery store without punching it in the cash register. They're not fast. They're fast pushing devices. They're not fast upstairs. Their neural links have been reduced, and they're stuck unstuck. They're in a rut. They're in a neural rut. And so skills, chores, challenges, discussions, hugs, but not overindulging. Let your children know that you care for them and you support them. But do not fall to every one of their whims. You must produce people who are going to be functional, highly functional, outside the home circuit, and that will be able to live and live well. So this is a bit of advice for all of those out there all around the world with how to deal with their children, what to teach them. People write us. How shall I teach my children? Teach them to read. Teach them to make their bed. Teach them to cook. Teach them to manage money. Not just give it to them. Yes, you're in a big transition here, and it's inevitable that you are going to go into the Aquarian type of energy. Pluto and Aquarius can bring an upliftment for humankind, a connection for humanity, or it can bring in some areas what China is, total technological tyranny. All right, Danae, anything else?
No, that's all, Peace. Thank you so much.
All right, good. No little voices now. We want to hear good voices. Who's got a question?
Peace, this Dorsey.
Dorsey, all right. Leo, loud and clear.
Yeah, I know you heard about Mattel's release of American Girl doll book urging young girls to take puberty blockers without parental
Yes,
consent.
American Doll is been a traditional sort of wave the flag American, and you get these dolls, and now they're changing. They're telling the kids to American Doll to they're encouraging puberty blockers. Here's what happens when you are on puberty blockers, because many of those who wanted to change their sex, the women chopped their breasts off, took puberty blockers, and a few years later, 18 to 24, they're full of regrets. What are they regretting? Well, they have no breasts. Some of them do not have a menstruation cycle. They have no maturity. The body stops maturing with puberty blockers, and so their bones do not develop, the nervous system does not develop. In other words, medical fraud to a super extreme. Now, anyone who participates in this, it's a karmic thing. No one's forcing it, which people are volunteering for it because they are so confused. And if they had been part of any of the genetic experiments that went on for hundreds of thousands of years in East Africa, in Egypt, remember in Egypt, all the gods were part human and part animal. If you think that mutilating children is bad, next is going to come animal-human hybrids. We've talked about that. And then there's going to be sex with animals after sex with children. It's a decaying reality that has been on the planet before and that is surfacing and showing itself in these tricky times to, let's say, resolve issues that were left hanging. This is why people recreate and history recreates itself, that there's unresolved issues, that they've not been laid to rest, they are not peaceful. So this is not going away. It's going to have a very dark exposure, and you're going to have a period for a little while where there's going to be encouraged some really dark stuff and make it hip and cool among the young kids. Look at the tattoos. We've never ever supported this whole tattoo movement. But you are looking at people covered in tattoos, many of them skulls and demonic faces. Walking advertisement for entity possession. Those people are not going to get cleaned off ever. They are carrying all manner of entities. And a lot of the very famous people, that they appear to be one thing, but they are another. This is all old Anunnaki Enki genetic engineering, along with his sister Nin Hersag. And remember, the Anunnaki were very big on incestual sex. This is rising also on the planet. And of course, there's been many accusations in the Nacho camp about Hunter and Pedo Pete and the rest of them by their own relatives. So this is dark stuff. What will people do with it? Will they dissociate? Will someone come in to save the day? It's all sort of it's going to burst forward. It will be dealt with. We do see that goodness will prevail, but we see that there's a very rough road, and a lot of retaliation, because these are the forces, the dark forces that occupy the people, that do very dark, disturbing things. They're going to fight back. It's not like the dark forces that occupy someone that's a drug addict, that's taking methamphetamine, or that's on any of these very destructive drugs. When you are dealing with blood and children and sex and killing, trafficking, this is it must come forward. There's just no way about it. Who has a question?
Pease, it's Hina again.
Yes.
Speaking about children and our own divine spark, could we put a shield around all the technology gadgets that they use, so perhaps only good or neutral things are absorbed by them? Could we put a shield over our TV? Could we
Yes,
put
you
a
can.
shield over their
You can, but
phones?
it'd be more effective to unplug the TV. If you are going to have one, keep it unplugged. And our vehicle used to tell people, and put a nice tablecloth or a pretty scarf. Well, today they have flat screens, so you can't do that. But unplug it and cover it over. It's long been known that the TVs can be used to spy on you, just like your computers, just like your cell phones. Your cell phones, friends, are never off.
Yeah.
So if you are having hot sex, someone's hearing about it. Getting loud there a little bit there, they're hearing about it. Yes, it's a song or something like that. Yes, uh-oh is right. And if you're having an argument, if you are, whatever you are doing, your cell phone on or off is recording everything, and it's going into NSA files, National Security Agency files, and who is gobbling it up? Not idiotic people. It's Arti Intel, AI, Arti Intel, artificial intelligence. That some believe that, some people believe that there's artificial intelligence that walks among you, that are so advanced robotically that you can't tell the difference. And every once in a while, if you look at Elon there, you're wondering, are you looking at a device or are you looking at a quirky human? And of course, it's long been the practice from time out of mind. Even in ancient times, a king would have a stand-in. He'd say, "Oh, I'm making love with the queen today. Have my stand-in go stand on the balcony and wave to everyone." All right, it's always been that way. The Ruskies were big on it. The Ruskies used to, I forget which one, but in the 60s and 70s, they'd pull people off the streets and that looked like them and do plastic surgeries. And some of them would have 3, 4, 5 doubles, duplicates. Today, the plastic surgery doubles, we said that Hillary, the last one she came out with is 666. That was her clone model. But you don't know what you are dealing with. Are you dealing with biological clones? Are you dealing with real artificial intelligence? Now, we went off on a tangent, and let's go back to what is your question here? What are you asking?
Whether we could put a shield.
A shield,
over
yes.
the
And that's why we
gadgets.
said unplug it. Of course, you can shield everything. And the more power you have, you can do it to animals, you can do it to your neighbors. Let's block them off and shield them, put them in a love bubble, so to speak, all right? A bit of a love bubble where they behave, where they're not making a lot of noise and the radio's quiet and they just wave to you, they're not doing anything funky. The power of your mind, you can shield all kinds of things. Play with it. That's the best thing we can say to you. Play with your creative abilities and have fun with it. All right?
Thank you.
Who else? Who has a
Hi.
question? Linda, we've not
Peace.
heard a peep out of you.
Oh, there's a lot of people that were new and had things to say.
All right. Did you want to ask something?
Yes, Linda Virgo.
Linda Virgo. All right. We're having a relief now from the Aquarians.
I've been pondering a lot the technology and the increase of technology without the increase of, let's say, our heart space has really caused a rift and I guess a repeat of history. I'm excited and also scared.
Yes.
The possibility of the human animal hybrid, which is where I see that you were saying we're possibly going. And I know that we're going there because there are already websites that are promoting this. You can get yourself a tail, you can get feathers, you can get fur, you want some ears, they can do that for you as well. And also, Dorsey had brought up a American, I think, Girl doll or something.
Yes.
I noticed that Barbie had, I will call them the sort of the human hybrid dolls, where it's the Barbie, but she has a costume that looks like a panther or a cat. And so she has an outfit on that's a furry that she can take off, but she also has like little ears and a little hat. So she's now, you know, both kind of things. To me, this is definitely Atlantis and Egyptian kind of coming back.
There's no doubt about it. And remember, some of the people that are engaged in this would be deeply involved in cult. And they are instructed in the cult to do certain things and take cult activity that was secret for decades and to start to break it out into the public. And then, of course, children and other people, they love to mimic. Oh, so-and-so, I'm going to do that too. So it usually starts in some inner circle of cult and scientific and weird, and Atlantean, of course, is all Atlantean. And Atlantean, of course, goes back to Enki. And Enki was the one who basically set up Atlantis with a king and, 5 sets of sons that were twins. Now, what is the odds of that? It's very, very strange. And it's going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and you Aquarians are probably going to love it. Because you are, if there's anyone who can interpret weird and hang with weird and understand weird, it's the Aquarians. The Capricorns right next door, they're a little, this is outside of tradition here, but it's funny how you all play it out. So that's sad to hear, but on the internet today, and that's only the open internet, imagine what's on the dark net. Yes, this is part of, none of this would be happening without the technology. And the technology, we've long said, was given to you from extraterrestrials because they want a depopulation agenda. It's not just the New World Order. The New World Order, the Klaus Schwabs, they are following orders. It's the Anunnaki who have a new plan for Earth, a new biological experiment, and perhaps they have advanced in what their intentions are, and they want to resurrect the animal-human hybrids as they were all over Egypt, and reduce the useless eaters, as they've often been called, the sheeples, and then what's left, or perhaps they believe they can control them, but the Anunnaki are delusional. They are completely delusional. They are caught up in their own darkness, so they have way more power than you. They have psychic abilities you can't imagine. They have technological abilities they can't imagine. But they are a mess. And anyone, whether they are gods or humans or animals, that are a mess, they end up destroying themselves. There's no beauty. There's no heart, as you said. There's no upliftment. And to reflect on what you suggested, Linda, you said there's not enough heart to go along with the technology. More than that, there's not enough neural capacity to process truth from falsehood, good from this is not a good idea. The nervous system of most people is back in the Stone Age when you give them a device. That's how big the gap is. So it's something that people will be writing about for a long time in history. Does it have a long shelf life? No, it does not. But all these experimentations are a sign that, big sign that you are at the end of something, whether the Christians want to call it the end days or not, or you're at the end of something. And many things need to be exposed so that as you start something new, you know what you are dealing with. Questions?
Hi, Peas. Hi.
Hi, Peas. Oh,
My
who's
name
saying
is
hi, Peas?
Adonis.
Who is it?
Adonis.
Adonis, all right. You know that's a Nibiruan name. It's the name of Adonis. We hear the beeper, thank you. Adonis, Apollo, they are connected to Ninurta. Ninurta is the son of Enlil, and very much of a dark warrior, just so that you know the history. Let's go ahead there, Adonis.
So I'm a Capricorn.
Capricorn.
My question, it has to do with dreams. And I've been noticing a phenomena that's happening, like every time it's like the day
Much
where
louder, please.
Where I'm coming to like your workshop specifically, I've been noticing it's a theme. This is like the third time I come like consecutively, but every morning when I wake up, I always have a dream where it has to do with some kind of like a power, like some kind of power where, say for example, like one of the dreams, it was like I was experimenting with telekinesis, and then like this morning I woke up and I from a dream where I was controlling water in all of its forms. And so I'm just wondering, like, is there some kind of like, I'm sure there is a connection, no doubt about it, but could you expand upon like the details specifically as like in preparation, like, oh, I'm going to like call the dancing moon and I'm going to set an intention, I want to come to this class, and then like reality shapes itself and forms itself in such a way where you know, like your spirit knows ahead of time, like, oh, I'm going to sit in the room, I'm going to like be sitting next to this person in front of me, whatever. And I was wondering if you can like elaborate like the connection more so. Why is it like, because I only have these dreams.
Wait, hold on.
These...
The beeper beeped, and your question, we got it. We're going to do
cool.
it.
I just wanted to...
Right. So we don't have a lot of time here. This is in conclusion. Sometimes when you are involved in our work, whether you listen to a CD or you come to class or whatever, it opens something within you. It opens connections to other aspects of yourself. And it sounds as if you are dreaming of superpowers. It's a good word to have there, superpowers. We said it, some are saying the superpower of today is common sense. That you are talking about rearranging reality. And of course, everyone has powers within them. To focus on us, or to consider our ideas, you aligned yourself with a certain energy, and your cells know it, but so do the other aspects of yourself, especially the aspects of yourself that you meet when you dream. Now, all people dream, but animals dream, but humans dream in different capacity. And what happens is the waking self translates the dream in symbolic terms that make sense to you. But sometimes if you go deeper in the dream, it has nothing to do with how you translated it. But look for a theme. And if you are finding that being involved in our work accelerates your dreaming, good, because that means you are playing in the playground of existence. And if you are dreaming about resolving things or being able to do certain things, it's sort of when you dream about being able to do something extraordinary, it really means that you have the energy to do something ordinary that seems beyond your capability. So dreams sometimes can be exaggerated so that you remember them. But what they are gifting you with is a direction for your day-to-day living. So when you have a dream, it is important to reflect on it and say, what does it have to do with my day-to-day life? How did I feel about it? What is the most important message that I remember? Was it in color? Was it in black and white? And observe and know that the higher forces, your higher forces, are working with you so that when you are awake, you have more confidence, you have more skills, and you have the ability to move forward in life. So, and don't be disheartened if you are connected to an inert by Apollo and Adonis and all that. It's all right. It also will give you a clue, perhaps, and think about what your connections are to the Anunnaki. So thank you for that question, Capricorn there. Lots of Capricorns here in Aquarius. So friends, it's at the end of the time. They'll be looking for us to come out there any moment. So create the best and take to heart your own ability to be a supreme creator, a maker, a shaper of your own life, a shaper of existence, near and far. And certainly you have the power to shape the world in addition to your own life. So pleasant journeys, Merry Christmas, and may the season enlighten all of you with joy, happiness, peace, and of course, fantastic parties. So from the pigeons, coo, a coo, a coo. Fly high for freedom. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here, and once again, it is our great pleasure to be in your reality. And welcome one and all. We have a full room here of visitors, lots of women. For those guys out there who are looking for hot babes, they're all here at the Moon. If you want to know where to find some good-thinking, vibrant women of all ages. Women tend to explore the unknown more than men do. But it depends. Look at, you had all those men that recently explored